presidents of the United States involved with, and previous presidents going back all the way to the turn of the century. You've got very high-ranking people from all walks of society, businesses, going there to worship at an owl, which is not easy to see there. Hang on. There you go, that's a bit better. You've got this 40-foot owl called Moloch, which they are supposed to sacrifice children and human beings to worship Moloch. And when you understand that people like George Bush, Bill Clinton, Kerry, Reagan, Ronald Reagan, you know, the list goes on. I've got a big list of them here, but I'll just sort of, you know, they go there, they dress in their black robes, and they perform worship, which is very similar to the Hellfire Club. They actually put in the flames of the fire in front of Moloch what they call a bundle of care. So they put all their care and their interest in sort of normality and for, what's the words I'm looking for? They put all their sort of feelings about what's normal and right into this bundle and they burn it. It's called the cremation of care. So they cremate care, the concept of caring, yes? And then what they're left with is a state where they don't have to care. So they cremate care every year. And people like, you know, George Bush, Clinton, all these people, Arnold Schwarzenegger's been there, there's all sorts of people go there. It's a male-only club. They bring in, there's a mass prostitution thing going on there where they bring in sort of, you know, women and men. You know, they're not supposed to have women there, but they do have women there, women as prostitutes. And it's a very interesting thing. Why are these people doing this? You've got the Skull and Bones Society, which is an Illuminati construct at Harvard, you know, Harvard University in the United States. And what they do there is they basically get some of these guys. Don't you just love him? You know, but they get these guys to sit in coffins, masturbating, whilst telling each other stories about sexual exploits. And these are the presidents of the United States, you know, and Bill Clinton will have done this in a coffin, Kerry will have, Bush will have, Bush's father did it. They're all Skull and Bones members. They're all connected by these secret societies, you know, and it's like, it's bizarre. It's like, what are these people up to? Now, okay, other famous people you might like to know who've been to the Bohemian Grove: Clint Eastwood, Jimmy Carter, Walter Cronkite, who's a very famous news reporter. Considering he's a news reporter, how come he can't find his way to put into the news what he gets up to in the Bohemian Club? You know, it doesn't seem to make it in there somehow. Al Gore, Robert Kennedy, Richard Nixon, Colin Powell, Roosevelt, Rumsfeld, William Taft, the founder of Skull and Bones. He used to go to this, you know, and it's just an orgy club, and it's a very unusual thing, I think, to see people doing this. Yes, they all go on to be political leaders. I mean, if you had a look at Ronald Reagan, he was photographed at the Bohemian Club way before he became involved in politics. And you've got Richard Nixon sitting on one side and Ronald Reagan sitting on the other in a photo. And here you've got George Bush, his father, and this is the Skull and Bones Society, and they're having their photos taken, you know, for their yearbook. So, and finally, I just wanted to touch briefly on my feelings on fox hunting and this sort of stuff, blood sports, because I believe that what you've actually got with these societies is the same as you've got in the construct of blood sports. What you do is you get a large group of people to do something that's actually quite nasty, quite bad, to the innocent animal being the fox, you know, which it has to be, it has to be sort of ripped to shreds by a pack of dogs. Now, I think that the symbolism here is that the pack leaders, the huntsmen, are actually symbolic of the elite in the country. The pack of dogs is symbolic of the slaves, your army. And then what you do is, after you've killed the animal, the fox, you wipe its blood in the face of the young children that are there. And this is a desensitization thing for becoming part of the leadership class, which understands that you can do these things with impunity and get away with them. And I think you can translate these ideas across into the secret societies, in so much as these organizations operate on a level that is above normal thinking and normal societal values, and operates often in secret. They don't like exposure, and they operate to rules which put themselves outside of the normal rules. And that a lot of this stuff is usually, you know, quite twisted and sick and sadistic, and it's done for brainwashing purposes to basically make people think, well, you know, I get patted on the back when I do these things, you know, we engage in these bad acts, I get patted on the back, they're all doing it, I'm doing it, it's okay to do it. And this is a form of brainwashing. So I'm actually against these sorts of things, and, you know, quite active in wanting to stop things like fox hunting taking place, and you know, exposing the secret societies wherever one can. So that's about it, really. I hope that's been an interesting talk for you, so thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Matthew. That was quite something. Have we got any questions that anyone would like to put to Matthew? On any controversial subject at all?
I really enjoyed that, Matthew, about the Freemasons bit. I thought it was quite interesting what you say about they put all their kind of cares into it and throw it, you know, to the owl or whatever.
Yes.
It's like they're desensitizing themselves, sort of like almost becoming dehuman. I found that quite spooky, actually.
Yes, I mean, you know, one wonders when they actually have the symbolic burning now of a effigy figure. They actually have a person, and I mean, to actually say, well, look, this is like a voodoo doll, or a, you know, this is a makeup. It's not a real person, but you think, well, it's not a real person now, but there are photos from the turn of the century where they've actually got bodies, and you don't know whether they're alive or they're dead. But I've seen a photo of a black child on a stretcher, and, you know, all these guys dressed up, and it's like, well, what's the purpose of that? I mean, are you symbolizing burning the black child, or did you burn the black child? Well, if you take America, going back, you know, into the 1940s, 1950s, where the Ku Klux Klan was actually actively out there killing black children, you know, this photo was taken in 1906, and you just wonder, well, you know, they need a few people to burn, let's go and get some black kids and let's burn them. You know, we'll worship Moloch and we'll sacrifice some kids. It is a bit, you know, it's a bit dark. It's extreme theatre.
It's really dark. The names in the giveaways in the name, the Freemasonic lodges, they're not free. They're just a bunch of super powerful pervs running around like dressing up in sort of dodgy clothing.
Yeah, I mean,
I do feel the more people like you activate or become activistic about it, I don't think, I mean, they've had their time, surely to God.
Well, they don't like exposure, and this is why they need to be exposed. Yes.
Like, you know, whatever you grab hold of, John Terry or Paris Hilton, I mean, you know, it's like, okay, that's on the plastic side.
Yes.
But it's just, it's disappearing, these secret societies. It's bullshit, isn't it? You said earlier, you don't like bullshit.
That's it. I don't like this because it is bullshit. It's one of my things, you know, tick it off on the I don't like this bullshit. But there was the Scottish guy who killed the children at Dunblane. He was connected through Freemasonry, which wasn't widely publicised, and this is how he came to know the police, who gave